So, hello and welcome everyone, as I realised that all of my intro was ruined because my mic was muted. Oh, yeah! I'm so cool. Seriously, I'm really cool. Why do I keep doing that? It's because I keep mixing up whether I mute on XSplit or whether I mute my mic via a hard mute I've got on there. And because I interchange it just pretty much randomly as I see fit, I forget which one I'm doing. I'm so damn pro. I agree. I am so damn pro. That was from the Twitch chat, by the way. If you're watching my YouTube, you could have watched this live and it'll be good. But anyway, let me introduce these players and then I'll explain again what's going on. So, down in the bottom right position, spawning as the blue Protoss, it is jgjg. I'm going to just call him JG. JG, it is. That's his name. And of course, again, why is my keyboard still doing this? Okay, I can't do the scrolly-in things because it just freaks the hell out and beeps a lot. I need to work that out. And his opponent up in the top left is the red Terran player, Azamato. So you just get a little scroll in now because my keyboard just doesn't know what it's doing right. Okay, it's just gone crazy. It's gone insane! But don't worry, it's good. So, little bit of TvP, that's going to be good fun. And yeah, this is, as you may have noticed, the player is sort of a well-known pro, so especially if you're on my YouTube, you might be like, hey, what's going on here? Why do I not know either of these two players? Well, they're both pretty good. And the reason that you may not have heard of them is because they aren't super pro players or something like that. However, and this is a big however, it's because I am doing an impromptu stream where I'm going to be sitting here and casting games people submit to me. So if you're watching this live, you can go to the Reddit link in the stream description and basically leave a comment with a game that you'd like me to cast. And if you'd like me to cast it, then hopefully I will be able to. And I have to be careful not to do things like follow units either. This is going to make obsing really difficult. If anyone is a champion of the PC and stream, try and work out why my keys seem to just stay on or something. Like, it's just like the keyboard buffer has just gone to pieces, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway, one gas only, no second gas yet. There comes down the cybernetical, nothing too crazy as of yet. Up at the other side though, see JG is coming in with the probe scout. Does he get any good vision? Let's take a quick look. Oh, I forget, I can't actually take a quick look because my keyboard goes funny. So no, it doesn't look like there is. I reckon it's a driver issue, because look, it's doing it again. What is wrong with you, keyboard? God, this is frustrating. But yeah, okay. Probe just going to come and check around, take a little peek. Gas up as well, so that means Reaper. Reaper's good, because Reaper against Protoss, you can usually come in and get a little peek about what's going on and say, okay, got some scouting information. But actually, Azamato, he does not need to worry about that because he's got an SCV there. So what he can try and do now is pick off a couple of probes. That's going to be frustrating, especially when your opponent, JG, is rushing up to get that Nexus down. He's going for it as quickly as he can, and as a result of that, he doesn't really have any units. As far as I'm aware, he has nothing. Nope, not even a single Zeta. That was skipped. The Mothership Core is his only defense up against this Reaper that's coming in. It's a little bit annoying, but it should be defendable. Not too much going on here. Just gonna take a little peek, take a little look about everything that is happening, and yeah, I'd say this is pretty normal. The probe just sitting there still, just keeping a good eye out for whether there's an expansion coming down. There is, but it's in the main base, so the probe won't know about it. What the probe will know, though, is when it floats down and becomes a mining base. So currently, JG is sitting there thinking, hey, you've got a Reaper, what's your follow-up play? Because this isn't going to be an all-in or anything like that. It could potentially be an all-in. It's just what's following up this Reaper. Mass Reaper is not that common. We've gone on the days where Reapers did crazy amount of damage to workers. Now they just do a normal amount. This SCV, unfortunately, trapped outside of his home. This poor SCV, he's been exiled out into the wilderness of the natural base, which has not yet been colonized by this command center. Of course, the factory is nearly done though, and that's good times because that means Widow Mines as well as the Starport. Probably going to be seeing some Widow Mine drops against Protoss. That's frustrating. Unless, of course, your Protoss opponent decides to make a robotics facility and gets an observer out. Well, the robotics facility is already there, so as long as the observer does come down to and stays relatively near the bases, actually the Widow Mine drop may not be too effective. But we do as well have, obviously, the Orbit Command morphing in at the second command center. Chrono Boost coming down on probes. The worker counts are currently favouring JG 29 to 22. But once the second orbit command floats down, when we add and factor in mules, actually their incomes are very similar. The Widow Mine currently being used defensively, but the second one coming out, are we going to see a from the starport immediately a medevac? Yes, we will. All good times, everything looking solid there actually. I like the way this is going. I also like the fact that there's a couple of Marines scouting at the back of the main, because of course it's very common on Acheron Wastes with all of this dead space for something crazy to start happening, and a couple of drops coming in, maybe oracles coming to try and deal a little bit of damage. Basically, something coming from the abyss over that cliff, and having the marines there just means you're safe. Also, we've got the stalkers here for JG, ready for the same thing, and since Widowmine drops are likely going to be on the cards with those 4 marines, and actually, these stalkers will be very strong, unless the drop comes into the natural base, and if it did, well, it's got to contend with the photon cannon, so that's the detection there. In the main, though, note that there is not yet any photon cannon, no detection. There is an observer out, but it's perilously travelling forth to go and discover the joys of what's on the other side of the map. Now, I'm quite surprised that this hasn't been a Widowmine drop, actually. I really read into that this was going to be some drop play, but it looks like no, just going to be very defensive. The Widowmine's being placed at the ramp. Remember, of course, against gateway units, Widowmine's one-shot any gateway unit. Very powerful, especially early game, that's really powerful, due to just the nature of gateway units. There won't be too many of them, they're expensive, so if you can knock one out against the push now, like for example, let's say there was a move out now, 3 stalkers and 1 immortal. I know it never happened, but even if there was just 1 Widowmine and you kill one of those stalkers, well, actually, you've just thirded the gateway support. You've knocked out 33% of it in 1 quick hit, and oh, the immortal is gonna die. That was an unfortunate rally point. That was a bit more than an unfortunate rally point. That was a terrible rally point, and that immortal paid the price. I guess it was an immortal. Now, marines are going to be starting to make their way up, and yeah, JG, this is why first game is unranked. It's always good to play your first game unranked anyway. It takes the pressure off, makes you hopefully feel a little bit more safe and things going nicely. But down come the Widowmines. There is no detection up here in the main, and there are 3 of them. Oh my goodness, those Widowmines. 13 workers killed, simultaneously pushing towards the natural. But with the Nexus cannon thrown down, these marines do have to be a little bit more cautious. They don't have stim, bear that in mind. It hasn't even started producing yet. What we do actually see is just things pretty much going very normal with +1 there. But the robotics bay is on its way out, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe this has been seen. Actually, no, I take it back, it has been seen. The medevac on its way out did see it. A medevac putting back all of these marines. Very little losses here. Double the resources lost currently for JG compared to that of Azamato, and yeah, I'd say this is going to be pretty exciting to get into. And I like the fact these additional bunkers are coming down. May seem a bit odd, but you know your opponent was getting out immortal, and you know that actually I've just killed a decent number of my opponent's workers. I'm ahead in the worker count almost certainly, especially when you factor in mules. My economy is going to be better, so I'm just going to sit there and hurdle up a bit. Yes, these cost a bit, but you can salvage them later for the resources back and be absolutely fine. There's also the observer chilling here. Now, just a small point here. Always build a missile tower. Always, 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 always. I cannot think of an occasion, unless you're going for an all-in, where you would not build a missile turret here. 2 reasons. 1, this observer would be so dead. It would be so dead right now and not scouting exactly what you've got. You'd be quite happy. And bear in mind that that observer can see everything. You can see that that command center's down, knows that. The scanner will take it out, but obviously that's now not going to be a mule. The missile turret would actually be a better spend of resources. Secondly, the reason a missile turret there is good is what? Oh, what would happen if a Dark Templar came in right now and he just scurried his way past? It's like, oh, bunkers, tons of marines. They'd be really effective if only there was some detection. Goes and swipes a couple of your SCVs, suddenly the game's leveled out. Missile turret basically at that natural, I think, is really solid. It's, you see nearly every pro Terran player in TvP putting a missile turret there, and there's a good reason for it. Now, if we take a look up here, we of course have Colossi coming out. We've got extended thermal lance getting researched. It's all very good. 1-1 upgrades on both sides. +2 is about to finish up. It's +1 armor, not attack. And the reason you get armor as Protoss against Terran, generally speaking, is because you want to reduce the damage of Marines. Marines make up a lot of the composition, so if you are able to get... Well, if you are able to get out of those additional Marines, then you're going to be pretty happy about it, because it simply means that actually, well, with the armor, you'll reduce their damage hugely, just because they've got a very high rate of fire, but low damage per hit. So getting the additional armor really reduces their DPS substantially. Now, move out is coming down. Bunk salvage, of course, You don't need those bunkers when everything's looking safe. The move out, safe as well, because his opponent not really doing too much. We see that Azamato is taking down the third. This gives him a base up. He's still sitting slightly ahead in the workers after killing 21 in total. A lot of Stalkers sticking up in the main. In case the drop comes down, that's great, unless a push comes into the natural and these two Colossi are sitting all on their lonesome. That can be where you run into a few problems. The Marines and Marauders starting to move up. The scan goes down and says, hang on, you've got 3 Colossus, but they're not doing anything. Stim comes down, of course, even further forward. Units getting spread quite nicely. The Colossus are unfortunately exposed to the front. Needs to micro them back just to make sure they don't get taken down. But 2 will fall. Of course, the Medivacs doing a good job of trying to heal up. There's now 6 Medivacs in total. A quick little pit up and a boost away. But unfortunately, one of the full Medivacs does get taken out. Nice focus fire. Using that blink micro very effectively. And yeah, I'd say that was a nice defense. It's leveled out the resources lost. Unfortunately, no additional workers were killed for Azamato, but what JG did lose was actually a couple of Colossi. Very expensive units. So while the Stalkers stay alive, losing 2 Colossus is going to always hurt. The S1's back out, but it just means things are a bit safe. It also means the Viking count's going to start skyrocketing, and generally around the 15-minute mark-ish is usually when, as a Protoss player, you want to be completing your tech switch. You want to have your Templar archives down if you did go for the Colossi first, and have Storm at least researching, because you need that tech switch. Because right now, all that actually needs to happen from Azamato is that he just makes Vikings. He's got a decent medevac count. The medevac count sitting at 6. He lost 1, remember, from here, so getting 6 out is good. Secondly, he's only got Vikings to worry about. He doesn't actually need ghosts hugely because there's no High Templar, there's no Storms, he doesn't need to EMP or snipe. Yes, ghosts would still be good, just for the EMPs on the shield, but if you get it down a lot later, if there's not High Templar coming, obviously that means you just got more army on the ground here. Your army composition's not as hard, you just got a couple of ghosts for the EMPs, so just worthwhile. Actually, the vision, if we take a look at Azamato's vision, he hasn't really scouted that soon. He doesn't really know what's all around here, and it would actually probably do him good to get a little bit of a scout out, take a peek at all of the production, take a peek at the thirds there. Just a good idea to scan occasionally, just to get a little bit of information. Know when this is coming. Not that, this. The Templar Archives. The fact this is 16 30 and it's only just started just means that the Vikings alone are going to be great. Having said that though, in the near future, of course that'll be done. High Templar will be hitting the ground. That's 1, feedback to your medevacs, which isn't too great. But 2, it also means that after Storm's research, you're going to get a little bit more splash damage from that, and you need to have your Ghosts prepared in time, and no Ghost Academy has been made at the moment for Azamato. So this is now just going to come down to this next push, really. And if there's good connections from the Vikings onto the Colossi, well, they'll get taken out quickly. But remember, the Stalkers do have Blink. The upgrades currently sitting at 1-1 compared to 0-2, but 2-2 is just 20 seconds away from completion. I would strongly advise that if you've got, say, 2-2 upgrades nearly done, wait a second, let them finish before you engage. Good timings are always solid. If you've got the upgrades, you must spend it. Great blink up onto the high ground to pick up Vikings, but unfortunately that's meant that on the low ground, actually there's not much support for these Colossi. So while the Vikings may be going down, the Colossi are 2. The Vikings falling, 3 remaining, but only a single Colossus is still up. This is where the damage is starting to look pretty sick. Unfortunately, the final Colossus staying alive for the moment, apart from a big move forward there from Azamato. Will have to retreat. Doesn't pick up these units though. And well, while he does pick up a lot of the sentries, the Stalkers are still around. There's also a Colossus here, but it's all on its own. With a stim, with a move forward, this Colossus could get taken down. Gonna get focused, and if it does get annihilated, of course that'd be a very good trade, but unfortunately it gets microed very nicely by JG. Stalkers coming in here, units getting dropped again, ground by that Colossus. It is going to just stay alive. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. 26 HP on a Colossus. That's a very, very close hold, but yeah, back at home, the Terran player just busy getting down that 4th CC. It's there already, putting him more into an orbital command because he's got a lot of map control. Unfortunately, in terms of resources lost, Azamato has lost a bit more. Not by a huge amount. I believe that's roughly, call it 8,700. Yeah, that's roughly like, what's that, 15? Yeah, 1,500 more resources lost for Azamato. Not a huge amount, but when his economy's flourishing like it is now, when he's going to have 4 mules active simultaneously, well, his income is going to look pretty sick. Let's take a look at this. Look at that mineral income. It's huge. You can afford to trade cost ineffectively if your income is that much greater than your opponents, as long as they don't just come and kill you. Very defensive play at the moment, I might add, from JG. He's not really moving out. He does have Storm nearly finished researching, and this is where the ghosts start coming in and where they really need to start coming. Currently no ghosts. First two only in production now. Would like to see some more, because this push is about to meet with Storm. This push will not hit before Storm is done. There are quite a few High Templar. These ones have just warped in, so I don't believe have enough money for Storm, enough mana rather for Storm for a while. But their energy will build up over time, and we may see some good Storms, especially if this push is delayed. 3-3 is nowhere near ready in order to allow this to work. So waiting for the push might not be the best move. Quick scan to see, is there an observer as the drops start getting prepared? It's 2 Medivacs. Not a huge amount, nothing that is going to just win flat outright. But the push into the 4th, scouted by this SCV, being kindly allowed to live, will pull a lot of the army down there. And, well, if the army from JG does go to defend, what's he going to defend after this 3rd with? Well, the answer is Broken Cannon. The army now coming down towards the 4th base. The feedbacks are like magic on those Medivacs, and without healing, of course. That means one thing. This infantry cannot afford to stim much, and it was going to get absolutely devastated by these Colossi. So JG now, he should be feeling fairly good, right? The only trouble is his economy is still down, but he just had a monumentally good trade. Things went well for him there. He didn't lose any of his Colossus, he just lost the Nexus. And I'd actually say losing that Nexus isn't the world's biggest problem yet, because he does still have the 3rd up, but he needs to get mining from that pretty quickly. Notice the difference in mineral income down there at the bottom right. Well, if that doesn't level out soon by basically these probes just not mining, problems are going to surface, because there just won't be the money to make things work, and you need that income. Currently the income's have at the moment, look at that difference. It's sick. A couple of Marauders are going to get a couple of Stalker kills for free, but still the probes are mining the probes. Please get the probes to mine, that would be so good. Okay, Marauders dealing some nice damage, but unfortunately are going to get shut down now as the entire army comes to take them out. Finally, the probes are back to mining. I'm glad to see that. +2 Protoss ground weapons are coming in, but remember 3-3 is finished already for the lovely Terrans, so that's good. The ghost count as well is starting to climb a little higher. I say a little higher. I think in the last engagement there were maybe 2 ghosts. Now there's 14, and still more on the way. EMPs are going to play an important part, especially after those High Templar in the previous engagement were able to feed back a lot of the Medivacs and, well, just make them effectively dead weight to the army. Command Center, this is now the 6th Command Center, as the 5th one is construction at the 5th base. Actually, no, maybe, oh no, it's not more than that. For a second, I thought that was a Command Center, but my vision was deceiving me. Scans coming down everywhere, just saying, okay, do you have an army? Where's your army? There's your army. I know where it is. Need to try and get some EMPs down. Remember, of course, the personal cloaking, not research. These ghosts, therefore, are slightly vulnerable. They could get fed back themselves, but also, they could potentially get stormed. That would be nasty times. If the MPs are good, though, especially on all these High Templar clumped up, that would be great. Down comes some units. Storms are going to start hitting, but there's the EMP. All of the High Templar caught in a single EMP. And oh my goodness, that was painful to watch. The Stalkers are not poaching down the Vikings at the moment. All the Ghosts, unfortunately, are taken out, though. They should have been micro-backed, ideally. But yeah, with the Colossi down, with the Archons morphing, Azamato, he's pushing in. 1 storm comes down, 2 storms come down. The 2nd storm is a bit more on the money, but the Medivacs would not hit with feedback, therefore they've still got a huge amount. Phone overcharge being triggered, but to be honest, the infantry, especially Mordors, can come in there, deal all of the damage very quickly, very fast. A couple of Zealots getting warped in, but things really now not looking good, mainly due to the fact that the 4th base only just now back up and running as the 3rd dies. The natural pretty much wind out, so only 1 mining base up against like all of the orbital commands and command centers that are down for Azamato. His income skyrocketing. The photon overcharge is no longer an option after the mothership core dies. 6 ghosts being produced at a time, adding in already to the 1 production cycle that's gone down. The 7 there for the time being, but there is an observer as well. It's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, this is looking very positive for the Terran at the moment. JG gonna be struggling. We do see the stim coming in, the natural nexus about to get taken out, and really this game, in brutal honesty, is a bit of a hold-up. Yes, there's a couple of zealots counter-attacking, but this orbital command can lift. Everything will be fine, and it doesn't really solve the problem that your opponent is at 120 army supply to your 51. That's a big deficit in terms of the army supply. Gonna make it tough for you to really try and turn that around. So yeah, Probe's now getting taken down. This is the real last lifeline. The last potential engagement is about to happen. Oh well, as we see, the Medivac's just dealing, able to pick up, dropping his back behind the force fields, preventing the Zealot from closing up the distance. The Proton Cannon is going to get taken down. Upgrades are 2-3 compared to 3-3. Another set of force fields. The Mord is the front though, tanking up quite a bit of the damage. The Gateway Army doing a nice job of holding this off for the time being. Note as well, there is still one Zealot trying to work away at that orbital command, but unfortunately will be able to survive. That's going to be a problem for Azamato because it's still going to start just chipping just shot, shot, shot. Azamato has lost a couple of workers now, but he's still up stupendously. 12 workers killed compared to 50 of the Terran. And also, we do see that we're sitting quite nicely at, well, 69 SCVs to 40 probes. The income is going to be very, very, very nice for Azamato, as long as he can keep this going. That, oh my mules. That's 11 mules, ladies and gentlemen. All at once. Watch this income. This income is about to be sickeningly good for anyone who doesn't play Terran. Oh, the Marauders needing some damage, but unfortunately that's a big army down. Oh, the mules! The mules! Oh no. Ow, ow. Mules are dying. I don't know why I'm saying ours. I doubt mules have pain sensors. I don't think it'd be too efficient for everything to work. And yeah. This is all pretty good, all going fairly okay. And yeah, everything is looking pretty solid for the Terran right now. And yeah, altogether, Probe coming up here, gonna poke in and just be like, boom, dropping down a Nexus. We've also got as well just a big pullback right now from JG. He doesn't have the army to really defend against this, so it'll be difficult. Notice JG as well is losing more resources now as well, so his income's lower and he's losing more stuff. Generally speaking, that is a bad combination. So yeah, that is pretty fun. And yeah, in we go now. We are seeing that a couple of hallucinated Colossi are there, but they're going to quickly get identified. EMP's going down on literally everything. The sentries have no energy. Well, the shield energy goes down, and this is probably now going to be GG. There it is. It is cool. Congratulations to Azamato for winning that game in a very cool fashion. So that was pretty fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure that you like the video, that you leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with yet another new cast, or if you're on my Twitch channel, stay tuned because new uploads coming. So, I hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, well, it was fantastic. I am going to do some more games as well, so that's nice. I can see some people are having a couple of lag issues. I'm streaming at a very high bitrate. I'm not currently partnered. Not gonna lie, I am working on it. It's just a little bit of an annoying thing. If you want me, for complete transparency, which of course is always good in esports, I am a tier 1 partner with YouTube, which means I can live stream to YouTube with all of their beautiful quality settings. It's quite an exclusive club of people who are allowed to live stream there, and I'm one of them. But apparently I'm not good enough for Twitch at the moment, or at least their automated partner application. But because the guys at XSplit are absolutely awesome, and I work with them. I've been working with them a bit to try and improve XSplit actually. They're talking to some people at Twitch, hopefully going to get me partnered up, but you never know. It's pretty good. So yeah, I've got a really high bitrate at the moment, just because all of my stream has to go to VODs, and because I don't have a partner channel, and it takes, basically it's near impossible unless you have a ridiculous setup for casting to record locally in 1080p and also stream in 1080p, or to make the bitrate better for viewers, 720. Having the two resolutions just means that XSplit has to render the image twice, and it fries your PC pretty easily. So I have to do it at quite high quality just for when it goes over to YouTube to keep it at good quality. So I am actually streaming at, I believe my bitrate is around 3500 kilobits per second. So that would mean that you need roughly, to watch this, a stable 3.5 meg connection, 4 meg connection if you want to do anything else at all on the internet. So that might be why some people are lagging. I am really sorry about that. Hopefully I will be able to get this account partnered on Twitch sometime soon, but until then it will be this way, so big sorry for that. Now next game will be coming on, and I have Azamato, I literally just cast your game against jgjg. It was awesome. Thank you very much for submitting it. It was a cool game. It will be highlighted and will go on my YouTube channel, so if you missed it, that's fine. Just go sub youtube.com/Madals91. I'm probably actually going to release all of these games as a block, because it's not really... I release pro content on a daily basis, so this can just be a big block of stuff. Azamato, though, if I'm not mistaken, you sent me another game. So now you're back. I will cast the next game of yours right now. So I'm going to do 2 of yours in a row. You can tell me which one I should do. I should probably do the versus Zerg, even though it's just loaded. What is going on? This is terrible. I accidentally double-clicked. Luciane, yeah, for League Stream you do need a 500+ viewer average for a few weeks to get partnered. That's just what they usually ask for someone who isn't known to the community and stuff. But it depends whether Twitch like you if you can do other things. And of course, my stream views on average are really low because all of the content I've produced previously to this has either been on YouTube or because I couldn't stream myself, or on someone else's stream because I couldn't stream myself. So things like Go for SE2 I did last night. I had a good couple of hundred concurrent viewers there. Obviously, I've done lots of bigger events. I cast WCS EU Challenger, where we have between, anywhere between 15 and 30,000 concurrent viewers. So, yeah, trying to work on that basis. But obviously, it wasn't on my channel, which is a bit annoying. So, as a mate, I'm going to cast your game versus Ghost LV, which should be fun. A TVZ is going to be coming up now. That's going to be good fun. And yeah. Just let me make sure note of the VOD cutting times, because I'm using an application that is actually XSplit baited, just to make it work the way you can log the bookmark time. So you start it when you start your broadcast, and then you just simply fix it all up and set up with a hotkey, and it remembers where everything's going. And that's, of course, really great, because if it remembers where things are going, then you can, or the times in relative to the broadcast, it makes highlighting your VODs ridiculously easy, which makes me very, very happy. So just going to try and make this all go nicely, set the times of when things were. I'm sorry I'm doing this all live on camera. I haven't got this all sorted out, so I do apologize for that it's not all quite perfectly fixed. So 1, 2, 3, it should be 32.32 all the way up to 54.21. Good times. So that was quite a long game, actually. That was a long game. That's good. Anyway, so next game is pretty much ready to roll. So I hope you are all ready for it. As my computer goes funny again. What is wrong with my keyboard? If anyone knows, please let me know, because it's really frustrating. So the next game is going to be Azamato versus Ghost LV. It's going to be a TVZ. Splash screen as always, and then I'll get into the game. So, welcome everyone. This is another subscriber game. I'm casting this bit of fun on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, of course you could have watched this live, but we are here, so things should be pretty good. Now, we are going in here, and yeah, it's going to be coming down, and it is on Akelon Wastes. Akelon Wastes is a cool map. Down in the bottom right position, spawning as the Red Zerg. It is none other than Ghost LV. And his opponent up in the top left, the Blue Terran player. I know he's watching live on Twitch right now. He submitted the game. He's pretty awesome. It is Azamato, who plays for Eternity. I don't know. Well, I do know of Eternity Gaming. They're pretty cool. If it's the Eternity I'm thinking of. Excuse me while I take a quick swig of tea. God, tea is good. I forgot to take a swig of tea during the break there, which meant that all the YouTube VODs now have me drinking tea. Top secret, by the way, for any YouTube viewers, I love tea. If you were watching on Twitch, you'd know that, because I drink tea so much on my stream. Tetley may as well, or PG Tips should actually sponsor me. I'm just saying, it'd be a great investment for them. Tea is not prevalent enough in esports. I'm just saying, energy drinks are great and all, but tea is fantastic. So, Anyway, I'm talking about tea so much I forgot to talk about StarCraft. Barracks coming down here, waiting to see whether we're going to get a gas. Yes, there we do, because Reaper openings are great. It's like the meta game of all meta games. It works nicely. I'll be interested to see whether Azamato gets out just one Reaper or a couple more. The reason one Reaper is good is you definitely get scouting information. You can harass a bit. I personally like the one Reaper against Zerg, actually. You can go for two, but if you get two out, you've got to force quite a few lings, and I personally feel the added expense and knock-on effects of getting that second Reaper aren't necessarily justified with the additional damage you can do normally, unless your micro is really good. The reason for that is because one Reaper can harass the drones, it can run out, heal up with combat drugs, and basically try and force out a couple more lings, and you can micro it, heal, come back, you can pick up the lings, force lings, reduce the drone count due to the lava being spent on Zerglings as opposed to drones. Everything's good. Two Reapers just means you have to do all of that, but more. And better, and with the 2 queens out, 4 queens out, that kind of timings and stuff, it just gets harder to make it work, like really quite a chunk harder. So anyway, we are seeing now that we are going to be coming in, and yeah, just not too much going down at the moment. Obviously the gas coming out, spawning pool is a hatch first, all pretty sound. Reaper is on its way, still gas being mined, Mule getting cooled down. And yeah, are we going to see another Reaper come out? That's just the big question that I want to know. One Reaper, are we going to get a second one? Yes, we will. Okay, so this does actually just put a little bit of pressure on Azamato to deal a bit more damage. Because if you get 2 Reapers out, as I said, you don't necessarily have to kill drones. There's other ways you can damage the Zerg as opposed to just killing drones, and that's forcing lings. So you see a lot of pro players kite Zerglings for a long time. They'll just kite them around, pick them off one at a time. That's fine, because if lots of Zerglings are getting made, that's not drones. So you're achieving the same thing as killing drones, actually slightly more, because you're actually keeping the drone count consistently lower, which is good. But yeah, one drone taking a couple of hits there will get pulled away. Notice the Zerglings already more in production, 4 in total, 1 gets killed. Got to be a bit careful because 2 are coming from behind. That's where you can get surrounded and you've got to be a bit more careful. But look how many lings are getting forced at this very early stage. The second Reaper is now coming into combat drugs, already healing up the first one, just making sure that it's going to be able to keep harassing. But note the queens are now. Queens definitely do help considerably up against Reapers, just because they're ranged. Reapers can't really kill them. First Reaper is getting very low on health, but does just escape. Good control. As long as that stays alive, it's good. Back at home, the command center coming up, the factory coming up, the reactor coming up. 2 Reapers following up into 4 Hellions. With those 2 Reapers is really great. The Queens alone, and Queens and Lings even, will struggle to defend it unless you get out like 4 Queens. And look at this, 16 Zerglings on their way. I'd say this has done a good amount of work. 16 Lings could be coming to try and punish this, because there isn't too much on the field yet, and there's obviously the investment in trying to get the reactor down and the Hellions. So there's a small window of opportunity, especially with speed on its way. Azamato does need to be a little bit cautious about this, but his Reapers are in a position where he can see what's going on. If worse comes to worse, and the Lings just decide, hey, let's go all in. Let's go for it. Let's go and try and deal some counter damage. The Reapers, well, they can kite unless, of course, they get surrounded. 1 goes down. Okay, the next one is in a bit of trouble now. The Zerglings are going to try and chase it, but a lot of Zerglings have been seen. This should trigger a response. Additional supply depots attempting to get placed to form a wall off. That's not going to work. There's just too much there. The next Reaper did get taken out as well. Zerglings are coming for the Hellions. Get surrounded. This could be a bit of a problem because, of course, with the Hellions going down, well, frankly, problems will start appearing because there's now very little in order to defend this. The natural being forced to left. The 2 mules were there and they were just cooled down. Oh, that hurts the Terran within me to know that those 2 mules aren't going to be able to return their minerals. They're going to die. The Hellions, though, now on the ramp mean that this wall-off will never die. These supply depots, though, probably will. 2 get cancelled, so that's only 50 minerals lost, but it's going to be 250 minerals lost straight away. And potentially supply blocking, not quite, only going down to 38, but still, 30 supply isn't great. There is a Roach Warren coming behind this too. Just ready to deal with the Hellions that will be on their way. Of course, these mules can just be left. Sending all the Lings over to attack these 2 mules would mean that the Hellions could take shots at them from a high ground and probably kill some. Wouldn't be ideal. Medevac is boosting down. Just going to take a quick little peek at everything here. Just going to say, okay, how many Lings do you have? Is there full on to this? Plus 2 Queens back at home for Ghost. He's just going to be pushing that creep forward, making sure things are going good, things are going safe, and really he's got good vision, because the creep serves 2 purposes against Terran, right? The first one is it gives you scouting information. That's pretty good. You know, you get a bit of an early warning system of any units that are coming out. Secondly, though, Terran players really don't want to engage on creep, mainly because the Zergling speed is so much quicker, especially early on with the Hellions and stuff. Engaging on creep is difficult because Speedlings will be able to get the surround so simply and easily. Don't really want that to happen. The queens do need to make sure, though, that they keep the active creep tumors safe as they move forward. More getting placed down, more kind of diving through the ground as those funny creep worm thingies. I think they're so cool. I love the creep worm thingies. That was one of the... I know this is really sad, but that was one of my favourite additions in Heart of the Swarm, was how creeps started to spread in just such a more awesome way. Lame, I know, but what can I say? I like it. Anyway, double Evo chambers. They are on their way down. We do, of course, have the extractor here. It's all looking good. Third hatchery is on its way, and this third may seem really late at 9 minutes 20, but remember, the natural CC still hasn't come back down yet. Azamato, not feeling safe. He could have done it, mind you. I don't know when he last scanned. If I switch over to his vision and take a quick peek, I don't think he's seen too much recently, because if he'd scanned anytime soon, he would have seen the evolution chambers and, of course, the roach run. Would have seen there's not really too much going on. So, sending that scan in probably would be a good idea. Just scanning a bit more frequently. Maybe if you want to feel safe to move this down, just get the scan done. You definitely could have done it. There's not really any vision around. Azamato could have taken this base a bit sooner and get it back mining, because he has taken a big hit in terms of the income, and also because he's been muling in his main will mine out faster, resulting in the third base being required a little bit sooner. Obviously, small things like that are problematic. Love the Viking. The Viking is amazing. Every Terran player in the world ever should always make one Viking against Zerg, because look, do you know how free that Overlord was? It was totally free. Doesn't supply block Ghost, but it could have done. There are also a couple of other Overlords sitting around which could have got taken out by that Viking first, but hey, why not go for the difficult ones and come back for the easy targets? More mines are on the way out. I actually hate Widow Mines with a passion, because when I play Zerg, Widow Mines own me so hardcore. Just can't deal with them. I know how to deal with them. I know how you're meant to do it. Especially with the Overseer speed buff, you can just get Overseer with some Mutalisk, pick him off, la-ti-da-ti-da, everything's fine and happy. In reality, though, Widow Mines kill all my stuff, and I get sad. Spore Callers down, though. Just drop prevention, really. This is quite a few spores. It's quite a commitment getting that many out. The Overlord trying to get saved, won't get saved. Will supply block Ghost now. Very annoying getting that supply block in there. That means the third's going to get drone saturated a little bit later. Overlord's 4 in production. Pretty late, but yeah, that's cool. Command Center also going down. Third CC, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is quite important to get things going quite nicely. Everything just trickling along, just as trickling along should be. Just additional creep spread also on its way. Things looking fairly positive there. No, mind you, though, there's not really been any aggression from Azamato yet. He can't drop into the main, fair enough, but the natural base is a bit more exposed. Only one Spore Crawler there. Really just trying to punish a Zerg being too greedy is always good, but arguably not a very greedy Zerg player here. The Evolution Chamber is only just upgrading 1-1 now, and that will lead to the upgrades being pretty equal if, since double upgrades are on their way. It's a rough, like, 40-second advantage. That's not huge in game terms. It's okay, but it's quite a small window of opportunity. You'd have to hit that pretty solidly. Medevac is coming in. Of course, it is filled with Widow Mines, but with the Spore Crawler, protection is granted. Unfortunately, the drones are not going to necessarily get pulled in time. A couple of drone kills will go down. Unfortunately, for 4 Widow Mines, there was only 4 workers killed, so not really worthwhile. It just delayed a bit of mining time there. And could have been a bit better. 20 drones following it up as well. Widow Mine drops them in the main are doing a lot more damage and good hits there. In total now, 15 workers killed. That definitely justified all 8 of the Widow Mines. They're going to get cleaned up anyway. But yeah, that was worthwhile killing those drones out, and it has actually leveled out the work count a little bit more. Third Orbit Command, of course, is still morphing in. That's when good times start coming down, because when you get this third Orbit Command, you're going to be able to get some more mules. You also need to flow down sooner, because if you remember back at the start of the game, the natural wasn't secured for quite a long time, so the main was muled heavily. That means it's mined out pretty soon, so you've got to get that third up. I'm suggesting this third just purely because it's the one that Terran and Protoss players usually take. Zergs always take this third, and let me just briefly, because I don't think anything's going to happen imminently, explain why this third is taken by Zergs. The big reason is because of this. You can defend this area Zerg easily. You're able to get nice concaves, nice surrounds, and pushing in is difficult. Now, the reason this base isn't so great is 1, you have to take out these destructible rocks, and 2, you're then trying to defend 2 areas as Zerg. And that can be more tough. There's this area in the center which makes things a little bit awkward. Meanwhile, for Terran players, taking this third is generally the norm, just because then you can use these rocks as an extra defensive position. But Azamato is going to come and take the third down here. I'm still okay with that. It's not something that is disastrously bad. It's just, generally speaking, it's this base because the rockets can be taken out and you can get into a nice defense position. But yeah, Widowmine's just going to be scaring off this push. Oh my goodness, this is good. The rock tower getting knocked down by Azamato, so he can come in to the drop into the main base, and suddenly the units are going to take longer to get down, and there's still the retreat path there. Going to make things very interesting. The medevac taking a couple shots from the spore, but will be able to get cleaned up. 2 medevacs full of Widow Mines headed towards the third base. There was a couple of spore crawlers though, so that damage will be quite nice. Fortunately, spores in the main getting taken out now. All of the army pulled back. That means very little in order to defend. These medevacs trying to drop out their load as fast as they can. The Widow Mines heading on in. Spine crawlers are of course going to start chipping away at them. Will the Widow Mine be able to get it shot off in time? Yes, it will. Good hits. 2 Widow Mines, 2 nice shots. Hellions are going up against, unfortunately, Queens. They don't fare too well there. Total, now 20 workers killed. Ghost is still ahead in the worker count sliding. There was a borrowed Zergling there. Very frustrating. This means that it couldn't land. Had to waste the scan. That's a mule that's not going to exist. Main base, still getting mined out quite quickly. Again, though, I'm not traumatized by it. 2-2 upgrades coming down now for Ghost LV, but for Azamato, he's not started 2-2 yet. He does need to look at keeping his upgrades going. The armory's there. And the reason now keeping upgrades going is important is just because you want to do it. One thing to note, though, the macro for Azamato, considerably better. Look at how low his unspent resources are compared to that of Ghost. Ghost has no reason to have that many unspent resources, just to be fair, because he's sitting there not maxed out. Ghost should really be spending his lava. He's not lava starved either. He's got 8 lava sitting there, so he's just not spending money, and he's not got any key tech structures just finished up or anything like that he's saving for. Basically, macro could be improved. It's a really easy area to improve in your gameplay. It's just getting your macro better. Azamato, though, he's just consistently staying around, well, the 500 mark of resources at 18 minutes into the game. That's fine. All Banelings are rolling forward. They get some nice detonations. Widow Mines are all taken out. Unfortunately, the Roach is trying to plow forward. A couple more Widow Mines are there, but unfortunately their shots have gone off. The Marines and Marauders trying to do some nice damage. The medevac count incredibly low, only 3 of them on the field, 2 of which are of course in the main base and not getting involved, and the Major needs to be making sure that he keeps good control with his army. The Marauder count is okay here, should help with the rotors, but the problem is without medevac, stimming is such a luxury, and you don't want to have stim as a luxury when a push is coming in towards you like that. You want to make sure that stim is always going down good. So yeah, at the moment, this is looking okay actually. Nothing too scary really going on, everything about where it needs to be, and yeah, my concern is only for Ghost, because his 4th is only just now getting taken. Interesting that he's taking the 4th up here. Most Zergs do take this 4th or double expand, and he may actually be double expanding. Oh, nearly rolled some Banelings into rocks. The amount of times I've rolled Banelings into rocks makes me want to cry. If I had an esport dollar for every Baneling that had rolled into a rock by a misclick, I'd be a slightly richer caster. Which would be quite good. Of course, any player you ask will assume that even as not a massive name caster, I earn all of the esports dollars. It is not true. It is definitely not true. Burrowed Banelings though are true, and Burrowed Banelings make me happy. This is a Burrowed Baneling, right? This is a Burrowed Baneling 2.0. The reason it's 2.0 is because that explodes once. That explodes every time it's off cooldown. Seems pretty good to me. And it explodes automatically. That's another thing to add. It explodes at just the right time. So, double drop coming in towards the main base. Meanwhile, double drop also coming in towards the third. Unfortunately, one of these medevacs taking quite a bit of fire. That means escape may be futile. No units around here for the moment, though. They are going to get pulled back, but they're all going to get pulled towards this third. The infestation pit is going to get sniped. Unfortunately, Pathogen Glands is already done, and there's 11 infestors on their way out. The drop into the main has to be careful. There are so many spore crawlers here, but find a nice little window of opportunity. Unfortunately, the infestors burrowing up. They could drop down a fungal growth and a lot of infested terrans if they so wish. The drop of the third now cleaned down. A couple of queens getting focused. Of course, we take the queens out. They're on lava injects. They're on lava injects. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, there are not many lava. No lava, bad times. The one advantage of taking out the infestation pit is that, of course, the hive can't get started. A little bit of lag there. Not quite sure what caused that, but yeah, all together now, I'd say this is alright for Azamato. He's up in workers. He's done some consistent damage throughout. He's now got 36 worker kills. The 4th base isn't working yet for Ghost. Ghost is not going up to Hive Tech because his infestation pit was taken out. So he's just sitting on Roach, Baneling, Zergling, Infestor. a bit of a strange composition there. The roaches ideally could get taken out. And the reason I'd say the roaches should get taken out, or sacrificed pretty much, is because they're inefficient supply. But then Ghost isn't supply block. Oh, the bailing hits! The burrow bailing hits were good, ladies and gentlemen. And of course some of the... Oh, that one was a bit AWOL, but yeah, the first one was quite nice. Widow Mine hits though are starting to go off. Most of the bailings have been taken out. The infestors though still have a good amount of energy for fungal growth, but the Widow Mine's alive. That means they're going to go off cooldown. The bailings, of course, once they detonate, dead and gone. Still more burrow bailings sitting up here, not doing too much. I really hope they do at some point. A couple of Zerglings just chilling down. Not quite sure what they're up to. The infestors ready for a mass infested Terran place. Drop though up in the main base. Sees the hive climbing. Going to get the other queen. And of course that means injects are now pretty much gone. The fungal growth are still going down. A couple of infested Terrans getting thrown out. The Widow Mines should get a few nice hits. Do manage to get a couple of nice hits. Good hit on the bailings there. Azamato microing back as best he can, trying to spread his units just because the bailings have made it through, or at least a couple of them have pick up. The infestors try to get the fungal growth on the medevacs, but won't be able to do so. So retreat in full force at the moment. And yeah, a couple of infestors just going to come waddling forward. These three infestors still have not released their deadly infested Terran payload. They've got a good amount of energy. This base could be dead. It really could be dead. Very, very dead. The Widow Mine's still chilling down here. A couple of the burrow bailings are still about, but roaches and infestors can try and move straight into these bunkers. Got to be careful in doing that because there's 3 bunkers up. That's a good amount of damage. The infested Terrans slowly getting chucked out. Streams and streams of Zerglings on their way through. But all getting cleaned up by the bunker position, so that's relatively solid. Worker count is still in Azamato's favour. Remember, Azamato's starting to get a little bit low at his natural. Could do with floating that 4th command centre over to the 4th. Just to get that better income. That'd be a consistent thing, as I'd say. You can take bases quicker, Azamato. If you're watching this, you can definitely take them slightly faster. But, oh, there goes the infested Terran payload. The SCB kill count went up a little bit. More got pulled. Lucky to over the command. Floats away to safety. And the infested Terrans will now get cleaned up. These 3 Widow Mines still chilling about. If these bailings meet these Widow Mines, it's going to be a sad Zerg. A very sad Zerg. Missile turrets now coming down for detection as well, just to make sure things are going safe. And you know about where those infested Terrans are coming in. The Ultralisk Cavern on its way down for Ghosts. Ultras, good times. Reason Ultras are good is quite simple actually. Because against Widow Mines they can tank up all of the damage. And against Marines and Marauders, if you get a good fungal growth down, they come over and they're like, nom 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 nom. Okay, I just mimed something, and I'm going to give you all the pleasure of doing it. Ultralisks, when they get in range of infantry, go nom 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 nom. Just like that. I can't believe I just did that on the stream, and it's going to go to YouTube as well. But you've all seen it, that's what Ultralisks do. Nom 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 nom. And I just saw it on the preview screen. Oh dear lord, why did I do that? Anyway, so, burrow bailings are still here. Seriously, this is like the biggest amount of anticipation ever. This is like when your favourite TV show finishes a series and you're just like, what? And they're just sitting there and you've got bailings all around. Yeah, bailings still sitting there. There's never been a TV show where there's bailings all around, but a TV show ends on a cliffhanger of someone's about to die. That's what those burrow bailings are. They're a cliffhanger that someone is about to die. And this okay. Oh, no, not. Oh, that money scan takes out the burrow bailings and safety has been assured. Oh yeah, Azamato, you should feel pro for that. That was good, nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Ultralisks though are coming out into the field. There's already a couple of Ultralisks on the field. The Widow Mines, oh, the Widow Mines get a hit. Of course, Widow Mines getting hits good. Bailings killing Widow Mines, meh, that's not ideal. More bailings being forced to morph in. The 4th base still chilling here, but look at that. A pesky burrowed Zergling is denying it coming down, but a couple of Marines, a couple of Marauders, and one-time scan means that Zergling is no more. Unfortunately, the scan part is not yet achieved. Double drop coming down again. Actually, it's a quadruple drop because there's 2 medevacs on each one. The Ultralisk now seeing being popped. This should trigger a lot more Marauder production if it hasn't been seen already. Unfortunately, the medevacs up at the 4th got taken out because there are so many Spore Crawlers. So many of them. The Ultra's trying to get kited. If you do actually get an Ultra kill, that'd be great. The transfuse did go down, so nicely done there. Ultra's still getting pulled over. The Marauders still only being produced a few at a time. The Marauder count staying at 15. Need a couple more Marauders, as many Marauders as you actually can up against Ultras. But then they're not so great against the Zerglings. But the Bailings can also soak up some damage. A couple of Widow Mine hits are going to go down, but unfortunately the splash damage kills a few of the infantry too there. Not ideal. But yeah, 4th base up and running. 5th planetary fortress sitting there. Unfortunately, there are some units heading towards that 5th. As well as overseers going with the army just to make sure there's no widow mines. And oh, the planetary fortress. Come on, planetary. You can kill that ultra. Come on, just one more shot. There we go. Probably not going to be able to achieve too much more. Banelings and ultras, as well as some burrowed banelings sitting there. Just going to try and act as a scare away. Unfortunately, the planetary fortress will die. That means that it's a 4 base situation now. But with the mine out at the natural, whereas a couple of mining still going on, it's still looking okay. The Ghost has got up to now 60 drones compared to 42 SCVs. The push is trying to go in, trying to deal a bit more damage. Yeah, the widow mines just scattered on for what seems like all eternity. The widow mine hits do need to be good though. That was quite a nice hit there. We do still have, of course, the bunkers up. The widow mine's still in a relatively good spot. In terms of resources lost, Ghost has lost about 1,000 more resources than his opponent. 30 minutes into this game. Losing 1,000 more resources, that makes this game very equal. The incomes are pretty similar too. The difference being that Azamato doesn't have much gas, but he's going quite marine heavy actually, and he's still got 1,000 gas banked up. Ghost, he might be mining more gas, but he has no gas shortage in the slightest. He's got 5,000 Vespian banked up, and could actually do with expanding more. He needs more hatcheries and more mineral income. And he needs it now. Actually, he doesn't need it now. He needs it 5 minutes ago, just to make sure those minerals are getting spent quite nicely. But yeah, in comes some speedlings. Just gonna pick up some units. Nothing great, nothing fantastic, but some free units nonetheless, giving you about a 1,200 additional resource trade there. No more drops coming down at the moment though. Really just quite a defensive play. This base will have to be retaken at some point, but of course burrow banelings are still chilling about. The Zergling gonna go and check on that. Ghost coming over the top, gonna try and take a little peek. And be like, okay, can I engage here? Can I get a good engagement? Well, the widow mines aren't burrowed. That's good news for me. Baneling's trying to come in. Detonate mainly on marauders though. More widow mines burrowing up. Of course, the overseers are there. Going to keep a good eye. And oh no, I clicked the vision button, which means my keyboard's going to go crazy as the engagement comes down. Oh, in comes a lot of units. Microing back on to the widow mines. The infantry does still stay up. And the marauders are now in a bit of trouble. There's 2 infestors with full energy, so they could have got a fungal growth if it was required in order to defend it. But yeah, the fungal growth didn't really need to achieve too much, and yeah, it wasn't required. Obviously, a bit more energy banking up on those infestors. All good news, everything looking fairly solid. 5th command center once more is going to be coming down. You could actually look now at floating this orbital command somewhere else, just due to the fact that it's doing nothing here. There's no gas in the refineries and there's no minerals, so why keep your command there? Good push up here though towards the 4th base. This could be a very, very powerful push for Azamato if he takes out the hatchery. The widow mines are there. They do get a fungal growth on them. A couple of detonations going on the ultras. Actually, most of the detonations going down on the ultras. And oh my goodness, there is a lot of them. The fungal growth though, not quite connecting yet to really allow the ultras to close up the distance. But unfortunately, very little focus fire just at the start meant that some of these ultras are taking a while to get taken out. A lot on low health. Will get focused down. 1 ultra remaining while the push gets cleaned up. That seemed like quite a good trade for Azamato. Just because he picked off the ultras, he may have lost a bit more, but he picked down the ultras. If he got the hatchery, it definitely would have been worthwhile, but counter push will now be coming in. More Zerglings on their way out. More banelings getting morphed through. No more ultras for the time being. A lot more banelings, actually 16 in total. The infestor count is at 10. There's also this one lone swarm host. I don't quite know the purpose of this swarm host. Marauders wandering over the banelings, just going to go and kill that Zergling, make sure it's pretty dead-like. Doesn't seem to be burrow banelings though with those marauders. That's a little bit frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. It just means he's got to be careful if he moves his army up there to go and defend. So now we could see the plays of the game by Ghost if he came and attacked this base and wait for the army to come up and then killed it. That'd be pretty cool for Ghost, and for us watching. Wouldn't be so cool for Azamato though. I don't think he'd quite like that. Or maybe he would. Maybe he'd just be a cool guy about it and be like, wow, that was good control. 5th base is coming up here too. This is kind of a redundancy base. Ooh, 6th base coming down as well. This is going to get cancelled if these medevacs are stopped, but they're not going to be stopped. Just going up to the current mining base there anyway. But oh no, the burrowed banelings will not detonate. That was anticlimactic. Drop. Still coming down through here. All looking okay at the moment. The burrow banelings were selected for a second. Got to wait for the movement. The hatchery gets taken down at the 4th. That is huge, the fact that hatchery went down, because suddenly the income's going to go down. The burrow banelings don't detonate. And that is once again pretty anticlimactic. Oh, burrow banelings don't detonate again. They did actually detonate there, but didn't kill anything. Simultaneously, they were pushing towards the natural and the third. We've got Banelings, got Ultras rolling on forward, and the Infestors scurrying along behind. Just going to try and get some good fungal growths down. The Banelings getting focused down pretty effectively, I'm going to be honest, but that was a good fungal growth, locking down all of the Mutalisks too, but chain fungals will be required. Meanwhile, the drop's still going on at the fourth base of Ghost, and Ghost, he's got to be careful because his mineral income and gas income is now microscopically small. A lot of infested Terrans are getting thrown out. This one lone Ultra will die. Good hiding there by Azamato. Azamato's drop still going on nice. The drone countdown to 21 for Ghost. And he's going to GG out there. So Azamato, in a very long game, actually a 36-minute game, is going to take the win. Done very nicely there. If you are on my YouTube channel, of course, like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe. Then flick over and watch some more games on my channel for the daily uploads. And yeah, if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow this stream. I do loads of casting now on stream. And I'll be back on camera in just a second.